They said no one wanted to play with Caitlin Clark. They said the Indiana Fever was a dead-end team. But Natasha Howard just proved them all wrong, and she's not holding back. This isn't just any player we're talking about. Howard is a three-time WNBA champion, a former Defensive Player of the Year, and one of the most dominant forces in the league. She had options, plenty of them, but she chose to come back to the team that drafted her. And she didn't just sign quietly, she made a statement. A loud one. She's standing up for Caitlin Clark, shutting down the haters, and bringing a championship mentality to a team that's ready to shock the world. But why did she choose Indiana? And what does this mean for the Fever's future? Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Let's break it all down. But before we jump into the good stuff, take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. By joining our crew, you'll always be in the loop with the latest WNBA updates, expert takes, and breakdowns of big moves just like this. Don't miss out, we've got every angle covered. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive right in. First things first, let's talk about the moment that had everyone feeling the emotions. When Natasha Howard stepped up to the podium for her press conference, you could tell this wasn't just another contract signing. She got emotional, real emotional. I kind of got emotional a little bit, she admitted. Like, wow, I'm back here again where I started.
At the end of the day, the way Indiana came at me with everything they promised me and they keeping their promise, they sold me. I'm happy to be back where I started.
And that's because this isn't just another stop on her basketball journey. This is where she was drafted in 2014. This is where it all started for her. And now, a decade later, she's back not as a rookie, but as a proven champion, a leader, and a player who knows what it takes to win.
Not only a tremendous player, but a tremendous person. And what she's done the last 9 years in her career has put her in the elite company of many athletes and many players in this league.
But let's take a step back and think about what this moment really means. Howard isn't just returning to Indiana. As another signing, she's coming back to finish what she started.
That's a good one right there.
I'll be back like
Number 33, the original. Back at it.
oh, Jersey.
Look, the original.
Right, we was with Adidas.
Look at that.
Over the years, she has built a reputation as a dominant force on both ends of the court, a player who can change the course of a game with her hustle, defensive presence, and leadership. This isn't just a player joining a team. This is a homecoming filled with unfinished business.
But I'm just really excited to also play with Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, like the player that, you know, that I also say stuff on the court to them when I'm like playing against them.
Fever coach Stephanie White spoke about Howard like she was the missing piece to a championship puzzle. And honestly, she might be. Not only a tremendous player, but a tremendous person, White said. She could have gone anywhere, but she chose us. That right there, that says everything. It's not just about the skills, it's about the heart, leadership, and championship mindset that Howard brings back to Indiana. And if there's one thing Howard has proved time and time again, it's that she's not afraid of a challenge. She thrives in the spotlight, steps up in big moments, and has a fire that fuels her to give 110% every single game.
Coach Steph is always being on my butt about hustling, working hard. You know, do the little things, because the little things gonna take you a long way. And when I got the minutes that I played my rookie year, I took every advantage of it.
So now with her return to Indiana, she's not just back to wear the jersey again, she's back to make a difference, to lead, and to inspire this new generation of Fever players.
Yo, what's up, fans? You know, I'm happy to be a Fever. You see me? See me? You see me? You see me with this on? Yeah, I'm back, baby.
And speaking of making a difference, let's dive into the critics who claim no one wanted to play with Caitlin Clark. Well, Natasha Howard just shut that narrative down completely.
The person that's sitting next to me is of high integrity, high class, great teammate. Players in this league love her, so welcoming her back.
Now let's address the big elephant in the room, the haters who said nobody wanted to play with Caitlin Clark. Remember when Cheryl Swoops confidently declared that WNBA veterans wouldn't want to deal with the so-called Caitlin Clark circus? Yeah, well, let's all take a moment to appreciate just how wrong she was. And not just wrong comically, outrageously, hilariously wrong.
What kind of things do you feel?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay,
I don't know. I ain't
okay,
even
but
on
just,
the team.
I'm
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay.
stuff,
It's a turn-
right?
It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Not only did Natasha Howard sign with the Fever, she was excited to do it. And we're not talking about a reluctant, last-minute decision. Nope. Howard could have gone anywhere, but she chose Indiana with full confidence. I'm just really excited to play with Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, she said. I used to trash talk them on the court, and now I'm playing with them. Think about that for a second. If Clark was really the problem that critics like Swoops claimed she was, why would a three-time champion jump at the chance to team up with her? Spoiler alert, because she's not the problem. Let's be honest here, if there was any circus surrounding Caitlin Clark, it was the one created by media members and analysts who couldn't stop talking about her. Clark didn't ask for this over-the-top narrative. She just wants to hoop. And now she's got some serious reinforcements who believe in her and the Fever's future. And let's not forget, it's not just Howard who wanted to play in Indiana. DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, and Sydney Colson also chose to sign with the Fever this offseason. That's 4 battle-tested veterans, all with championship experience, all willingly signing up to play alongside Clark and the Fever's rising stars. So, tell me, Cheryl, where exactly are these veterans who don't want to play with Caitlin Clark? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like they're lining up at the door to join this team. Now, the Fever aren't just a promising young team anymore. They are a legit powerhouse in the making. Opponents better start taking them seriously, because this squad is stacked with talent, and they have something to prove. And speaking of proving something, let's talk about why Natasha Howard specifically chose Indiana over every other team in the league. So, why Indiana? Howard had options. She could have gone anywhere, but she chose the Fever. Why? Well, for starters, the Fever's front office made it clear from day one that she wasn't just a target they were determined to bring her back. When Amber and I started talking, the first name we had on our list was Natasha Howard, said Fever GM Kelly Krauskopf. We knew what she could bring to this team, not just as a player, but as a leader, as a competitor, and as someone who could set the tone for what we're building here. And Howard saw that commitment. She didn't feel like just another signing, she felt valued. She saw the vision Indiana had, and more importantly, she believed in it. At the end of the day, Indiana kept their promise, she said. They sold me on what they're building, and I took the bait. This isn't just a player-team relationship, this is mutual trust. Indiana isn't just getting Howard's skills, they're getting her leadership, her mindset, her championship DNA. And that's exactly what a young team like the Fever needs. But let's be clear, Howard isn't just thinking about herself here. She sees the bigger picture. She sees a team filled with young, hungry players who are ready to take the next step. She sees a culture that is shifting from rebuilding to competing. She sees the potential in stars like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, and she knows what it takes to turn potential into championships.
I'm happy to be back where I started, and also being back with Coach and Kelly, and also Amber as well, bringing her along. It's just a blessing to be back where I started, and also for my family and friends to also see me back.
And if you think Howard is just here to play ball and collect a paycheck, think again. She's here to teach, to lead, and to help build a winning culture in Indiana. A culture where young stars thrive, where veterans bring leadership and toughness, where championships aren't just dreams, they're expectations. And speaking of expectations, let's talk about what Howard's arrival means for her on-court chemistry with Caitlin Clark. Because if you thought Indiana was dangerous before, just wait until you see what this duo is capable of. Whoa, you've made it this far. That must mean you're really enjoying the video, right? So why not take a quick second to hit that follow button? It's totally free, super simple, and helps us keep bringing you more awesome content, especially if you love the WNBA. Whether it's game highlights, player spotlights, or behind-the-scenes moments, we've got you covered. Plus, by following, you'll never miss a beat when it comes to your favorite teams and players. Go on, tap that follow now. All right, let's jump back in. Now let's shift gears and talk about on-court chemistry. Howard and Caitlin Clark together? That's a problem for opposing teams. Howard is a transition scoring machine. She runs the floor at full speed, finishes strong, and has the kind of elite athleticism that makes defenders panic. The way she moves in transition isn't just fast, it's unstoppable. Once she gets ahead, defenders might as well wave a white flag because she's going straight to the rim with power. And Clark? Well, we all know she's the best passer in the game. Not just good elite. She sees passing lanes before they even exist, threading the ball like an NFL quarterback hitting a receiver in stride. Now imagine this. Clark snags a rebound, she looks up the court, Howard is already sprinting, boom, perfect pass, easy bucket. That's not just basketball, that's art in motion. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. The Fever are going to be a highlight reel factory. Expect SportsCenter to be flooded with Indiana highlights because Clark and Howard running the floor together is going to be must-watch TV.
It's going to be Caitlin Clark flash show. So it's going to be phenomenal playing with a point guard, like you said, that have a good vision on the court.
But wait, it's not just fast breaks. These two are also set to be pick-and-roll nightmares. Howard is strong enough to set a great screen and roll to the hoop, and Clark's vision and IQ make her deadly in those situations.
Caitlin in particular, what did you see from her game during her rookie year, and just what's an excitement level playing with someone like that?
She can spread the floor by shooting. She could dictate the floor as a point guard. She's an amazing passer.
And let's not forget the versatility here. Howard isn't just a lob target, she's got the mid-range game, the footwork, and the experience to pop out and knock down shots too. That means defenders won't be able to just sit back and clog the lane. They'll have to pick their poison stop Clark's deep three or contain Howard's rolling power. Either way, good luck. The potential for this duo? Scary good. And the best part? This isn't even the full story. Because if you thought Indiana was already a threat on offense, just wait until we talk about what Howard brings to the defensive side of the ball. We're not just talking about offense here. Defense matters too. And if there's one thing Natasha Howard does better than almost anyone, it's making life miserable for opponents on the defensive end. Howard isn't just a good defender, she's elite. We're talking about a Defensive Player of the Year winner, a player who has been top 10 in defensive player voting 3 different times, and someone who has averaged at least 1 block and 1 steal per game for 7 straight seasons. That's consistency. That's impact. That's the kind of defense that changes the trajectory of a team. And let's not forget her 7-foot wingspan. That's not just long, that's cover half the court with her arms, long. That means getting in passing lanes, altering shots, and making ball handlers think twice before challenging her in the paint. Let's be real, Indiana struggled defensively last season. But with Howard's length, IQ, and championship experience, that problem just got solved overnight. She's the kind of defender who doesn't just block shots, she erases offensive game plans. Now think about this for a second. Howard and Aaliyah Boston protecting the rim together. That's not just 2 good defenders, that's a defensive wall. That's elite shot blocking. That's opponents second-guessing every single drive to the basket. Now add in Clark's improving defensive awareness, Kelsey Mitchell's hustle, and the intensity that DeWanna Bonner and Sophie Cunningham bring, and suddenly this team isn't just scoring points, they're shutting people down. And here's the scary part. Howard's defense isn't just about stopping the other team. It creates offense too. Every block, every steal, every forced turnover, that's another chance for Clark to push the ball in transition. That's another opportunity for Howard to sprint down the court and finish at the rim. This Fever team isn't just going to outscore you, they're going to outwork, out-hustle, and out-defend you too. And speaking of making an impact, let's talk about how the Fever's entire roster has been completely transformed this offseason.
Teammates, just getting to know my teammates on and off the court. Because that's one thing I actually want to know is my teammates first.
If you weren't paying attention, let's go over the insane transformation Indiana pulled off this offseason. The Fever didn't just make a few upgrades, they completely reloaded with elite talent, blending young stars with championship-winning veterans. The Fever's new and improved squad: Caitlin Clark, rookie phenom, game changer, box office superstar; Aaliyah Boston, dominant paint presence, future MVP, defensive anchor; Kelsey Mitchell, elite scorer, clutch shooter, fearless competitor; Lexi Hull, sharpshooter, perimeter defender, high-energy player. Natasha Howard, 3-time champion, defensive monster, veteran leader. DeWanna Bonner, proven veteran, scoring machine, championship pedigree. Sophie Cunningham, playoff experience, toughness, 3-and-D threat. And Sydney Colson, 2-time WNBA champion, locker room leader, defensive specialist. This isn't just a good team. This is a team that is built to win now. They have a perfect mix of youth and experience, star power, defensive toughness, and players who know how to win on the biggest stage. Let's put it this way, if other teams weren't taking the Fever seriously before, they better start now. This roster isn't just competing for a playoff spot, they have all the pieces to make a deep postseason run. And let's not forget the chemistry. This isn't just a collection of talent thrown together. These players fit together perfectly. Caitlin Clark now has the ideal supporting cast, Howard and Boston in the paint, Bonner and Cunningham stretching the floor, and Mitchell providing additional firepower. This squad is built for greatness, and with this kind of talent, there's no telling just how high they can climb. But let's be real, talent alone doesn't win championships. It takes something more. It takes the right mindset, the right leadership, and the right culture. And that's exactly what Natasha Howard and these new additions are bringing to Indiana. Let's rewind for a second. Just a year ago, people were laughing at Indiana. They weren't just doubting the Fever, they were outright dismissing them. Who wants to play for the Fever? They said, rolling their eyes as if this team was nothing more than a rebuilding project destined to remain at the bottom of the standings. The media didn't take them seriously. Analysts overlooked them. Even some fans lost hope. And leading the charge of doubters? Cheryl Swoops. The WNBA legend turned to analysts seemed absolutely convinced that veterans would be sprinting in the opposite direction if Indiana came calling. Nobody wants to play with Caitlin Clark, she boldly declared, practically daring the basketball gods to prove her wrong. But now, look at them now. The same people who scoffed at the idea of Indiana being a destination are the ones scrambling to rank them as a top 3 team in the league. So Cheryl, I have to ask, where are all these players refusing to sign with Indiana? Because from what I can see, they're lining up at the door. Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, all veterans, all experienced winners, all willingly choosing to play for the Indiana Fever. Maybe Swoops missed the memo, or maybe she just underestimated the allure of playing with one of the best young cores in the league. Either way, her prediction aged like milk left out in the sun. The idea that nobody wanted to play for Indiana, absolutely obliterated. And Natasha Howard, she's a huge reason for that shift. Her decision to return wasn't just about coming home. It was a statement that Indiana is no longer a place to be avoided. It's a place where winners want to play. But this transformation didn't happen overnight. It took guts, vision, and a front office willing to go all in. And now the Fever aren't just back, they're coming for the crown. So what's next? Howard's return isn't just about nostalgia, it's about unfinished business. It's about proving people wrong. We have a young group that's hungry to win, she said. We added veterans. We're not just here to compete, we're here to win. The message is clear. Indiana isn't just here to participate, they're here to dominate. If you've made it this far, you're officially a real one. The Indiana Fever just went from being counted out to being one of the most exciting teams in the league, and Natasha Howard's return is just the beginning. She's bringing that championship DNA, that defensive grit, and most importantly, that winning mentality. And let's be real, this season is about to be something special. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and now a stacked squad ready to prove everyone wrong? Yeah, the WNBA better be ready. So what do you think? Are the Fever legit title contenders now? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single update. We've got all the WNBA news, expert breakdowns, and fire content coming your way, so don't miss out. All right, that's a wrap for now, but trust me, we're just getting started. See you in the next one.